Hi, everyone, and welcome to this special episode of Ongolo Conversations. My name is Muloongo Muchelemba, and I am the founder of Ongolo.com, a Pan-African website whose main objective is to keep Africans connected and engaged and to promote Africa and Africans. On today's program, I'm really excited to have the program director for the Women Entrepreneurship and Leadership for Africa program and two alumni to share with us their experience of the WELA program. So I'd like to say a warm welcome to Professor Mathew, Ezinwanne, and Emi-Beth, who will be joining us in a second. Just give me 1 sec. Okay, perfect. We have everybody on screen. Welcome.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for.
Hi.
Oh, hi, everyone. Let me just get the names up as well. So just give me 1 sec.
Okay.
And then we can do a quick round of introductions just so people can see who's on the screen. So, Prof, can I start with you for an intro?
Right. So I'm Professor Mathew Tsamenyi. I'm the Executive Director for CEIBS Africa. And I also coordinate the CEIBS, the Women Entrepreneurship Leadership Program.
Perfect. Okay, Ezinwanne, do you want to go next? Ezinwanne, or is it Ezi for short?
Can you hear me?
Yes, can hear you. We can see your hands as well.
All right. Sorry.
Do you want to do your intro?
Can I just have a minute, please?
Okay, I'll put you on mute for a second. Emi-Beth, do you want to go ahead?
Hello.
Hi, sorry. Ezinwanne, do you want to do your intro? We're already live.
Hello. Hi, I'm Ezinwanne Ajayi from Nigeria. Can you hear me?
We can hear you fine. Don't move your screen, please, because it's interfering with the picture. Okay, Emi-Beth, do you want to do your intro?
Please just give me a minute. I need to sort out something. Ron Solomon is at the gate calling me.
Hi, Emi-Beth, do you want to give your intro?
Sure. So, hi, my name is Emi-Beth Quantson. I'm part of the WELA 2015 cohort. I run a coffee company based in Accra, Ghana. So we're a bean to cup company where we work with women farmers in the Volta region of Ghana to get green coffee beans from Ghana. And then we have a roastery, and then we participate in pop-ups to also serve our coffee. So that's who I am in a nutshell.
Oh, perfect. Thank you for that. Well, maybe we can start the questions with the professor to tell us a little bit more about the program. So what exactly is the program about? What are the key selling points and how is it conducted?
Okay, thank you very much. And thank you for hosting us again. So the program is mainly about empowering women. So CEIBS, which is China Europe International Business School, is a joint venture between the European Union and then the Chinese government with its main campus in Shanghai. But in China, we have two other campuses in Shenzhen and Beijing. And then in Europe, we have a campus in Zurich. In Africa, we have a campus here in Accra. But CEIBS has been built on a foundation of entrepreneurship. So we've been always interested in promoting entrepreneurship. So when we came to Africa in 2008, our mandate was basically to contribute to or to promote private sector development and mainly through entrepreneurship. Now, one of the things we notice is that when you look at China, and especially looking at our alumni network, we kind of have a lot of women who are in very high positions in organizations. But in addition to that, we have quite a number of women who run their own businesses. And these are all multi-million-dollar businesses. So we've been actually discussing and saying, how do we actually expose our women, the African women, to some of the opportunities to also to network with some of our women alumni in China. So that was actually the motivation for launching this program. So we actually piloted it in 2012 in Accra. And we had about 16 women, I think about 10 of them from Ghana and 4 from Nigeria. And then we have a lady from, I think, Sierra Leone, and then 1 from Liberia, actually on that program. But then we realized after the first cohort, actually about the significant impact that we're making, and then talking to the women. So the following year, we then decided to launch a second cohort. So we had a Accra cohort that launched a second cohort in Lagos. And it's been very successful since 2012 that we launched the program. Last year, we then expanded it to South Africa. So we entered into a partnership with the University of Johannesburg Business School. So we have a cohort in South Africa as well. We've made attempts in the past. We're thinking about expanding it to other parts of the continent. So in North Africa, we'll be having a conversation with ESCA, which is one of the leading business schools in Morocco, to actually launch a North Africa cohort. And then also in East Africa, we're looking at Kenya and potentially also Tanzania. So we'll be having those discussions now. So the whole purpose of the program is mainly to empower our African women, to help them in terms of scaling up, access to markets, access to finance, and also to build their capacity and skills to be able to run what we probably would call maybe a Pan-African business or a global business. So this is, in a nutshell, probably what motivated us to launch the program.
Well, that's great. Now, before I bring Emi-Beth on, so Emi-Beth, just giving you a heads up that you're coming on, can I just check with you, as people watching this program will be wondering, who is this program for? And, you know, what does it cost them? Are there any scholarships available?
Okay. So when we wrote the program first, our main target was existing entrepreneurs. But one of the things we quickly noticed is that we have quite a number of women in industry as well who do not have businesses currently, who are not currently running businesses, but also have interest in actually launching their own businesses. And very often, people get it wrong at the start. They jump into business. I think it's easy to start a business, but it's always difficult to scale up. So one of the things we've done is that even though the program originally was targeting existing or current entrepreneurs, we also actually expanded it to include probably potential, what we call potential entrepreneurs, women who are in industry but have interest in actually entrepreneurship. So the cohort we have currently will be about 80% will be current entrepreneurs who have existing business, either startups or a little bit of growing businesses. And then the second, maybe about 20%, the other 20% will be women from industry as well. So this is probably the composition of the cohort we have now. I mean, in terms of maybe entry requirements, because of the programs are probably case-based, and then we expect a lot of discussions and participations and sharing of ideas and everything. So we require at least some sort of minimum academic qualification, and either a degree or a diploma from a recognized institution. But more importantly, I think we're looking for people who have the passion for entrepreneurship. So we normally would talk to individual applicants to get their probably interest in the program and the motivation. And then we look at probably applications on case-by-case basis.
Okay, I think it would be good to hear from, oh, sorry, continue.
I know you asked a second question, how much does it cost? And so the program is significantly or substantially probably subsidized as part of the program. So let me just explain the structure of the program first, then I'll come to the cost. So the participants actually the program spans over maybe about 6 months period. They do about 4 modules back in Africa. So the cohort we have in Accra, we do 4 modules in Accra. The cohort we have in Lagos, we do 4 modules in Lagos. And these are predominantly functional modules in finance, in marketing, in strategy and entrepreneurship, and in gender and leadership. And then you go to China for 2 weeks. So we have a China immersion program, which is residential on our campus in Shanghai. And then we go to Hangzhou, where we spend about 3 days with the Alibaba group in Hangzhou. And then we go to Yiwu, which is the industrial city of China. So we have in terms of the cost composition of the program. So that is actually built, a trip to China is built into the program. But the school actually in Shanghai subsidizes the program significantly. The fee that participants currently pay, it's roughly about $7,000 US. And we normally would break this down into installments, depending on individual circumstances. So we're quite flexible in terms of how we structure payments, and people will normally pay in local currency. So the women in Nigeria, for example, pay in Naira, and then the women in Ghana will pay in a local currency, which is a cedi. In South Africa, they pay in a rand. But we're quite flexible, and we discuss individual circumstances as well. And in terms of scholarship opportunities as well, we discuss with individuals.
That's really exciting, and the price is great. With that, you go see Alibaba. I think that's amazing. So how about we hear from the ladies so that they can tell us actually what their experience has been. So I'll bring Emi-Beth and Ezinwanne back on the program, and then we can have a conversation. So Emi-Beth, do you want to start just by telling us a bit about your business? I know you said in the intro about your business before we get into why you took this program.
Okay, so what my business looks like now is this. So this is like the packaged end products, all made in Ghana, value added in Ghana. The product is in Ghana. Prof drinks our coffee. He loves it. It's a very popular product. So this has been the result of many iterations of our organization. So basically, Kawa Moka has 2 main objectives: to create a sustainable company, socially conscious company that adds value along the coffee value chain in Ghana. So that includes working with farmers to improve the quality and the quantity of coffee that is grown in Ghana. A lot of people don't even know that Ghana has good coffee. So one of our objectives is to let the world know that Ghana has good coffee. And then beyond us just having good green beans, unlike that usual story of Africa where we just have the raw material and it goes elsewhere to be processed and returned at a higher price for us, we are adding value locally, we're creating jobs locally, we're innovating locally to be able to produce an end product in Ghana. So that's what Kawa Moka does in terms of adding value. The other thing that the company has as an objective is to also work with women to sort of pay it forward. We have benefited from a lot of investment in women taking their place at the seat at the table, so to speak. So we also want to pay that forward by consciously working with women along our value chain. So in the farm, we consciously work with women farmers. Right now, we're working to give them access to land because land ownership is a big one in Ghana. So we're trying to work with our women farmers to have as many of them as possible own their income. So not just work on the farms, but also own their income. We're trying to give them access to a global market so that every time you buy a pack of Kawa Moka, you know that you're helping empowering a woman. You're helping to empower a young girl from having to marry young because she doesn't have access to income. So that's also something that we're really passionate about. And it was a clear alignment for us with WELA, because WELA was trying to achieve that with women, not just try to have like a kiosk or a small store or a small business. You're like, no, think bigger, be global, have structured businesses. And for me, that was such a high. And one of the reasons after meeting Prof in and the team at CEIBS, just explaining what the program should be about. That was one of the key sellers for me. Of course, I joined WELA in 2015. That was about when it was very early stages of my business. I was like, do I really want to do this full time? Do I not? I had just spent 6 years working with PricewaterhouseCoopers in Ghana and in Kenya. So I definitely had a clear career trajectory. There were a lot of opportunities, but I always felt that there was something more I could do. And even though I had business training, being able to transition from corporate into entrepreneurship was always, there was still like, something, I wasn't sure if this is what I wanted to do. I wasn't sure if it would give me income, it wouldn't be able to support me. I wasn't sure about all of that. So WELA came in at a perfect time for me because it gave clear, for me, objectives, one, on what kind of business model do I want to run. So the WELA program was really good with that. So it got me thinking about how are you going to structure this business to make it profitable, to make it sustainable. So that was one. Two, there was the network. So already you're in a room with women, some of them already accomplished from their professional backgrounds, others also way younger, also like me, trying to figure out where they went. But it was a very powerful network. So for example, Genevieve, who was part of the program, was very passionate about finance. So she wanted to help the women in the program. When you're starting a business, or even when you're in business, one of the biggest issues is access to finance by women in particular. So she was very passionate about, let's come together, even if it's 1,000 cedis, I think that's about $200 a month that we all contribute. Let's put it in a pool. Let's think about ways that we can help each other and support each other. And that was really awesome, because then beyond just what you're paying for the program, you come away with so much more. So that was a great example of where WELA was really beneficial. And then for me as well, going into the coffee value chain, I had issues around, where am I going to get my coffee from? How am I going to process it? What kind of machinery am I going to get? All of those practical issues of operating. And WELA taking us to China was awesome, because suddenly it demystified China. Like, China stopped being this big bad country that we have no idea how to access. We don't speak the language. How do you enter China? And they basically held our hands, gave us access to huge companies in China, and walked us through various supply chain. We went to a socks factory. I mean, it was the first time I'd seen socks being produced on such a massive scale. I was shocked. I've never seen something like that in my country. But that also gives you that ambition to know that you can scale. You can also do this. It's possible. So yes, when we had to pay $7,000, it seemed a lot. We were supported by, having the payments plan, so you don't have to put it all in at once. And this was 2015, it was 7,000. 2020 is still 7,000. So that should tell you how dedicated CEIBS is to ensuring that as many women as possible can access this. And it was hard paying, but at the end, I've had no regrets, because I can tell you for a fact that I earned all of that back and more from the network. So I would
great.
Say that about WELA.
That's great. I love that story. So hold that thought about your experience of China, because actually I was inspired by what you and Pop said, and I want to come to that after Ezi gives us her introduction on her business, and also what inspired you to take WELA and some of your highlights.
Okay. Hi everyone. I'm Ezinwanne Ajayi. I'm the founder of Babybliss Shop. Babybliss Shop is the largest mother baby business operating in Nigeria at the moment. We have we operate in 3 different forms. We have 2 physical stores in Lagos, Nigeria. We have an e-commerce website, fully operational e-commerce website. Then we equally have an app for mothers who want to get more information about pregnancy and how to deal with their babies. So that means we have the physical stores, we have the e-commerce, and we equally have the digital side of the business, which deals with selling information and passing across information to mothers. So my WELA experience, I got to know about WELA, that was in 2018. And but some somehow I just felt I wasn't ready to go to school. So by 2019, I signed up for the class, and signing up for the class turned out to be the best thing I'd done for myself, because there's something that happens to us business women. We are so much into running our homes, running our businesses. We don't even have time to learn. It was an opportunity for me to go back to school. We took courses in finance. We took courses in marketing. We took courses in strategy, which proved to be one of the things that we women lack as business people. We kind of run around like headless chickens. We're very busy, but we don't have a destination. So going back to what WELA did for my business, so it gave me the power and the knowledge I needed to reflect on so many things that were happening in my business as at that time, because we're having challenges with supply chain, we're having challenges with logistics, and also at that point we were at the verge of like merging with another business, but there were so many questions that were not answered within me. But after going through the WELA program today, Babybliss Shop, it was just announced some weeks back. We merged with Mom's Village in Kenya, which is another woman-founded business. And right now, we have merged to form one business called Bliss Group. Bliss Group is, I believe, let me say, the first of its kind in Africa, because it's Nigeria and Kenya coming together to form a company. And that also enabled us to set into, because right now we have a team, or a leadership team or management team that is made up of completely women. It's a women-only led company. So I believe it's a first of its kind. I'm really excited, and I know that it's something that Africa needs, because she rightly mentioned there's Emi said earlier, there's a lot of women own businesses, but we are operating at micro scale. We are not operating at the scale where we should have structure, we should have a legal department, an accounting department, supply chain, logistics, where the African woman is limited by the fact that we don't have something that makes us to think big. Now, that is what WELA did for me. WELA made me to think bigger than I had ever thought of, and it helped my business. It has positioned my business to be in a place where I never imagined that it would be when I was starting off a business. Thank you.
That's amazing. So just to remind all of you that you're all on screen permanently, so I can't take any of you off, so appreciate if you don't shift. Otherwise, it'll make it difficult for me to do the clips. But just to remind the people that are watching, because people have started posting comments, could you just let us know where you're watching from? I know my dad and my sister are in Lusaka. We've got Demba and Sayapi who are in the US. So we're capturing a global audience of people who are really interested in this program, especially because it's women, it's entrepreneurship, it's leadership. And I love the stories that both of you have shared. Emi-Beth, you're talking about using Ghanaian coffee to produce Ghanaian products. And I'd like to actually come back and ask you a question about how other people can in Africa can buy. Where do people buy your products? So we'll talk about that in a bit. But there are two things that I picked up from the conversation thus far that I think we should elaborate on. And sorry, just one thing. People watching, please post any questions or comments in the Facebook page. I will be able to bring them on the screen. So for example, we've got Rahima who's watching from Ghana. So Team Ghana is represented. And as I mentioned before, we've got Demba who's appeared on my show and is actually in the US. And then we've got, well, my family who are my biggest fans. That's my dad, who's always watching, and my sister. So thank you, family, for always supporting. So anyone who has any questions, please post that. I will put it on the screen. Okay, so now let's go back to two questions that I wanted to ask you off of what you said. And the first one was the China experience. So Prof, could you just explain to us, what exactly do people see and do when they do that field trip to China, and especially like Alibaba? How did you actually get that connection? Because that's huge. And then to both Emi-Beth and Ezinwanne, please tell us about, just elaborate a bit more on, your experience, what you saw. Because like you say, you demystify China. And China, I live in Singapore, and I really want to go to China because there's so much happening in China that Africa can learn from. But we're still hung up on the politics of China and alleged and exploitation and all that stuff that we're actually missing the trick. So I think, Emmy, you started talking about that, but let's just contextualize it properly for the speaker. So we'll start with Prof, and then we'll come to each of you, Emmy and Ezzy, in terms of what you saw and what you want people to know that China is doing that we can do in Africa.
So I think, so for us, the most important thing was to expose our women to opportunities and a network in China through our alumni network. So that was the original thing. So the program has evolved in China over the years. At the beginning, it was mainly, the women stay mainly in Shanghai, and they do company visits and everything. And then we expanded actually the China trip to include a trip to Yiwu. Yiwu is one of probably the leading industrial cities in China, where quite a number of products that you see in Africa are manufactured in Yiwu. So we actually added the Yiwu to the China trip. Now last year, we then decided to make the program better. So unfortunately for Emi-Beth, she completed the program in 2015. Ezinwanne the 2019 cohort. So she experienced.
We went to China.
To Alibaba. Well, and one of the advantages of being at CEIBS is that we have a very rich alumni network in China. And these are very powerful people connected to every sort of organization or industry. So there are quite a number of very senior managers or senior leaders from Alibaba who are CEIBS alumni. And so it was very easy to actually set up the Alibaba trip. Originally, it was going to be a one-day trip to Alibaba. But then we had a suggestion from Alibaba. I think it was the second number 2 in command at Alibaba, with a lady and a CEIBS alumna who suggested, well, since you guys are coming to Hangzhou anyway, why don't you spend a longer time with us? And so we then decided to build a comprehensive Alibaba module into the program. So we spent 3 days actually at Alibaba, and the idea is for the ladies to understand the business model, the platform business model of Alibaba. We visited several Alibaba companies. We went to the buying village. We went to the retail, some of the retail shops of Alibaba, and it was actually refreshing. And you could actually say that people like Ezinwanne who is into retailing, you could actually see them picking.
So
actually an experience.
It was very insightful.
Yeah, and then so because she's been part of that trade, and so since then we've been discussing with Alibaba, see how to actually improve on the experience. Because quite a number of our alumni haven't experienced the Alibaba trip as well. So the plan is actually to probably make this available to them. Now, unfortunately, this year, because of COVID-19, we have to postpone a trip to China and then Alibaba. So we're planning it again next year, sometime around June, with probably things, depending on how things actually go.
Wow. Okay. So Emmy and Ezzy, do you want to just share your experience, what you took away from China?
Yeah, definitely. I'll be very happy to share my experience with other people. The Alibaba Business School experience was more like a highlight of the trip. Even though we had awesome classes at Shanghai, we took a class with Professor Emily. We took a class with Professor Guo, who took us through a class in the digital understanding, because right now is the digital economy, where everybody's talking about the digital economy. So we took 2 classes that explained the digital. We took case studies using stories from real life Chinese companies that were heavily involved in the digital business. And we saw the traps, we saw the opportunities, and we had a very healthy debate in the class. Then we went to Alibaba, because when you're in Africa, the only thing you know about Alibaba is buying goods from China. But we saw that Alibaba was much more than just buying goods from China. They had financials. I believe if you're listening to the news, you'll be hearing about their IPO that is just coming up, which they are saying it to be the largest. We had opportunities to interact with people from Ant Financials. They were there. They told us who they were, what they do, the strategy, their model. It was awesome. We spent time with their vice president, who is in charge of a business school. He took us to their supermarkets where they are testing out digital payments, live supply chain. It was an awesome experience. It was an awesome experience. Also, the visit to you, for somebody like me that is into retail, was beautiful because it gave me opportunity to get more suppliers. So for me, it was awesome because I got what I needed for my trading side of a business. I got what I needed for the e-commerce side of a business. I also got what I needed for the digital side of a business. So for me, it was a 100 over 100 experience. WELA is something you will not regret. Something you will not regret. Thank you.
That's great.
I concur. I concur. So Izzy has said quite a bit. I had a similar experience, even though I didn't get to go to Alibaba. I think our roundup of companies was equally good. It was exceptionally good and served the purpose of giving insights into the scale and operations of China, businesses in China across different sectors. I think what definitely stands out for me is that we don't just go to Shanghai. So that experience of being able to move to Yiwu, we also had the option of going to Guangzhou, which a group of us went to Guangzhou. That was also very insightful because Shanghai is very, New York-like, very, and then you go to Guangzhou and it's like hardcore. It's like, I'd never seen so many people crossing the street at once. It was like a whole horde, things like that. So you get to see both sides. And then you get to also understand what is happening when things are shipped to Ghana, for example. So people go to China, they get something for, let's say, $100. They come back, they sell it for $1,000. So guess what? Now you're part of WELA. You get to know that this thing is actually sold for $100. You get to go to the source. You get to get your own connections. Of course, one of the good things is before you get to do that, you're in class learning about how to do business in China. So you don't just go there and choose what you want and leave. You have to make sure that, what you actually selected is what goes into the container. So it's like stuff like that. It's the way you get to understand how to do business in China and get to see different parts of China that were really great. We also had, speaking of this alumni network, when we went to Yiwu, one of the alumni actually sponsored for us to stay in the Marriott. It was a beautiful hotel. So we got to stay fully paid, everything in this lovely hotel sponsored by an alumni. So you see that the alumni network keeps showing up. And even after you leave, there are opportunities to network. We have dinners, we have dances. You meet people not just from Ghana, not just from Nigeria, but globally, and not just even limited to WELA, because CEIBS also has other programs, the Executive MBA. So once you become an alumni of CEIBS, you're alumni of CEIBS, and you have access to so much and so many people. So it's a very powerful network in and outside of China and in and outside of your own home country. It's a global network. So China was really useful for me. Just even in terms of hospitality, they had a whole section on hospitality. So there were things I was looking for, like chefing dishes, all sorts of things. And you can't do everything in the period that you're there. It's just so amazing. There's just so much to be done. So, we had the opportunity to connect with suppliers, to understand how to do business in China. And that aspect is, aside from all that you get in Accra before you leave, is a game changer. It's definitely a game changer for business. And I'd also like to mention that in Accra, you don't have to leave what you're doing. So the great thing about WELA is that it's done over weekends. So they purposefully, schedule classes so that it's over weekends. So you can still go to work, still be able to earn income, or still be doing your business and get to go to class, so that by the end of the session, you're at least more stable on where you want to go and you don't have to lose income. So that's definitely a plus. And the professors are great. I have Professor Shamin, who's always talking about doing business with giants. So it's like you're a little company, but you're growing. And we're not even allowed to say we're small. You're a growing company. And these are what the giants are doing. But how did they get there? What did they do? So that whole demystification of structures and growth is really, really helpful all across the board. And they always take the time. It's not just, I'm just a professor, I come to the class and then I tell you. They take the opportunity. Professor Andrews, for example, came to our business, spent some time with us, try to understand the business, try to give, even outside of class, insights on what we can do better. So all that personal touch, that interest, that genuine concern has been very helpful in growing our business to what it is today.
Oh, that's great. Well, I have a question from my big sis, which actually Prof can help understand. So she's based out of Lusaka, and how can she actually participate in WELA then? Do you have to be in the city where the program is offered to actually take part?
No, you don't. Okay, so I think the closest to Lusaka would be the Johannesburg, so the Johannesburg cohort. But again, with the COVID now, with the new normal where we're looking at online delivery and looking at probably not revising the program completely, but I think making it a bit flexible. But I think for now, I'll put her in touch with, I'll get her contact, and then I'll put her in touch with colleagues in Johannesburg. And because, as I said, it's a modular program and it's maybe held over the weekends or everything, it'll be easy for her probably to travel to Johannesburg. But I'm also hoping that we'll be able to have some sort of a blended learning approach where she can probably stay in Lusaka and take some of the modules. And probably that will limit her travel time to Johannesburg. Or maybe probably even potentially even coming to Accra. We'll be happy to welcome her in Accra as well.
Oh, that's
but
great.
The plan is also that if we have, let's say, about up to 15, 20 women in, let's say, in Zambia, Lusaka, who are interested in the program, we can actually organize a cohort in Zambia. So she doesn't have to travel to Johannesburg. But because we don't have the network on the ground, we've been to Zambia before, we ran a program in Zambia, but we don't have the network on the ground. So if she's interested in actually working with us to promote the program in Zambia and helping us recruit and maybe bring people in her network together, we'll be happy to actually talk to her.
Okay, I will definitely connect you. And I've just noticed we've got Anika as well checking in from Cairo. Hi, Anika. So in North Africa, it's only Morocco which is under consideration or already implemented?
No, so we actually started a conversation about 2 years ago. We actually launched it, but then we couldn't recruit enough participants for the program. So that was in 2018. But we had a lady from Morocco who joined the Ghana class. And the plan was actually to revisit that in this 2020, 2021. So we're still happy to talk to probably other ladies she's from Egypt, in Cairo, and we're happy to talk to her in Egypt as well. If there are potentials there, we'll be happy to organize a program in Egypt as well.
Okay, and then we've got someone called Rania who's also tuned in. Rania, please let us know which country you're watching from, because I think what will be great is just to get a sense from the program which cities are dialing in and where the interest is. So maybe we could actually pick that up and see how we can get more women to benefit from what Emi and Ezi have said is a fantastic program.
Can I add something? I think one of our main objectives in launching this program is also to promote this Pan-African business concept, especially intra-African trade and intra-African business. And the challenge, of course, has been it's always difficult doing business across the continent. And one of the things that we've done through the CEIBS program in general, and then also the WELA, is to be able to bring participants from different African countries together. I mean, you have Eze in Nigeria, you have Emi in Ghana, we have alumni in Cote d'Ivoire, we have alumni in South Africa, in Burundi, in Cameroon, in different African countries. And we're able to connect this alumni. And that is one of the things that WELA and our other programs actually aim to achieve, to be able to promote these businesses across the continent.
Oh, that's great. Well, actually, and that was the second question I wanted to ask both Emi and Ezi. Actually, Ezi, I'll start with you because you talked about your business merger with with a Kenyan entity. So how are you making sure that Babybliss is actually available to people across Africa? And I will post a link to your website on the Facebook page.
So part of the challenge Africa has is that of logistics. It's a big problem. And one of the ways that we felt that we could circumvent that was to partner with other companies that had similar visions, similar goals with us across Africa. Kenya is the first to come on board. We are hoping to have people from other parts of Africa join us because I believe the bigger the pie, the better the business. It's one of the things I learned from WELA too. It was stunning. It was a revelation to us when we went to Alibaba to learn that as at that time, Jakarta owned only 6.8% of the company. Because, the concept we have in Africa is 100% ownership. It was something that was demystified for us thoroughly in China. So part of the challenge we have in Africa is lack of jobs, well-paid, good-paying jobs. We have a lot of women do businesses, but they are operating at micro scale. So if women can get the education they need, they can get the exposure they need to be able to dream big, I believe Africa will be in a better place. Because when you look at businesses that are global franchises like KFC, what really is the main business they are doing? They are frying chicken. And every woman in Africa can fry chicken. We can even fry chicken better than KFC. So, but the problem we have is limited vision, limited knowledge, limited access to finance. And instructively, let me mention one of the very good things that happened to me because of this WELA program. When we were in Hangzhou, Professor Emily took a couple of us to visit a venture capital firm where we had some discussions with them. And the fact that they even go to that extent for you, it's awesome. We equally had some people that mentored us in Lagos, Prof. and the other lady from the UK. They equally gave us access to investors, to people that were willing to fund businesses. So WELA is not just coming to sit down in a class to learn accounting. It's an ecosystem. It's an ecosystem. That's the only way I can classify it. Thank you.
Wow. Great. Okay. And Emi? So in terms of your products, and how are you making sure that this is available across Africa?
So we have a shop online. So you can purchase Kawa Moka at www.kawamoka.com/shop. So that's KAWAMOKA, Kawa Moka. And then we deliver worldwide via DHL. We're also always interested in resellers. So if you're in a country where there's no Kawa Moka and you'd love to try out great coffee or you'd like to resell it, please reach out on any of our social media platforms. On Instagram, we're Kawa Moka. On Facebook, Kawa Moka. So please follow us, reach out to us. We're always interested in partnerships and growing our business.
Do you actually, Prof, do you see some of your alumni actually getting together and doing business jointly?
Absolutely. And I'll come back and address that in a minute. But let me just add something to what Ezinwanne said earlier on about the mentoring. And one of the things that you see on the WELA program, that this is not your typical academic program. Even though it's going back to school, it's not a program where you go and sit in class throughout the program. So first of all, we allow the women to learn from each other. But in addition to that, we also have a mentoring program which runs through the program. And we have two fantastic ladies that Ezinwanne has just mentioned, Em and Michelle, who actually work with these ladies, one-on-one mentoring and also group mentoring, to be able to figure out where they are in terms of their business and where they want to go to, but also to be able to empower them, to be able to build their confidence, how they present, presentation, and also be able to communicate. So it is very essential. Now, one of the other things that I've seen, coming back to your question now, and for me, it probably excites me, is the fact that we've been able to develop women who understand partnership, who are now able to actually work with each other. So we have women from Ghana actually working with women from Nigeria. And we've seen quite a number of our alumni actually organizing joint events together and also discussing businesses together. Maybe my two, what I would call alumni here, will be able to shed light on that, their experiences in trying to work across probably countries. Of course, the challenges we have in Africa, as Ezinwanne mentioned earlier on, one is logistics, but also it's bigger than that. I think it's just that we don't usually trust each other in Africa. So it's much more difficult to have, even within the same country, getting into partnership and building businesses together is usually difficult. And this is some of the things that we want to be able to address through the WELA program. So I sincerely believe that for the 8 years that we've run this program, we've actually made significant progress. We've produced women who have actually grown their businesses beyond the very micro level of, let's say, backyard businesses, and actually operating on a very Pan-African or even a global platform. So I'm actually happy to see Ezinwanne, for example, who's now gone into a merger with a company in Kenya. And these are some of the success stories that we want to share. I mean, Emi, I'm probably one of your best or trusted customers. I buy her coffee regularly, and even trying to now look at opportunities to actually promote the coffee across the continent. And I know some of our, I think the last year WELA alumni, I think there is a lady from the last year cohort who is now working with another lady from Abidjan, trying to actually do something together, I think, to have a joint product launch across the two countries. So yes, so we're seeing quite a lot of progress in that aspect.
That's great. So actually, a question I had for Emi and Ezi was about entrepreneurship in general. So when you watch shows and movies like Facebook, and you see people drop out of school, they found a $1 trillion company eventually. So I want to be an entrepreneur. Can you please give us hard truth moment where you share your own personal experiences for your ups and downs of becoming an entrepreneur? And just keep it real, because I want people to know just how much you forming your company.
Did I go first?
Sorry,
do I go first?
Yeah, please go first, Evie. I'm trying to
Okay. So my entrepreneurship story is quite funny because Babybliss, when I started Babybliss, there was no business plan in place. There was nothing fancy. I didn't even have any. Let me tell you the story of Babybliss. I was pregnant with my second child. That was about 10 years ago, and I had to stop work because the pregnancy was such a difficult one, and it came after 5 years. So everybody says, just stay at home, don't do anything, just put your legs up on the table and be having fun. But I'm that kind of person. So those were the early days of internet shopping. So I started shopping on internet and bringing them into Nigeria and selling, because I discovered then as a pregnant mom that there were so many things I needed that I couldn't just get to buy in Nigeria. There was no information. There was no, you go to the open markets, you can't differentiate the fake items from the original items. So I started bringing things in from the UK and the US to sell from my sitting room. And, those were the early days of Facebook. I opened a Facebook account for the business, started promoting the business on Facebook. And By the time the baby came, my whole sitting room was filled with inventory. So my husband said, this is no longer a hobby. This has turned to a business, and this business has to move out of my house. So I had to go look for a store. You know, my baby was 3 months old. I had to get a nanny to stay with the baby so I could drive. I will put the baby on my back, you know, typical African woman, put the baby on my back and be selling and be hustling. You know, just that was just essentially how Babybliss started. It wasn't anything fun. It wasn't anything enjoyable. There were days of sorrow. There were days of disappointments. You know, Africa, when you're trading, you expect so many things, incredible things happening with the customs, logistics, foreign exchange. We have all kinds of problems in Africa. So, but so kind. I latched onto technology very early because, you know, between 2010 and now, a lot of things have happened. E-commerce, we saw the rise of e-commerce, we saw the rise of Facebook, Instagram. A lot of things have happened within 10 years. And I know more significant things will happen between now and 2030. So when I saw the trend and saw the way where the world was going, I quickly latched onto e-commerce, got onto marketplaces like Jumia early enough, saw that Jumia wasn't what I wanted. I pivoted and, you know, I had to create my own website from scratch. I had to get logistics people. It was funny, quite. But the most fun thing is, as I was doing it, the vision came. You know, in the process of doing it, the vision came. I saw companies like diapers.com, you know, Amazon come in and acquire them because they saw such a small company as a threat. So I knew that I was on to something significant. And that was how we started building from there. We got investment from a venture capital company. They came in, did the turnaround. We had to build the business all over again. That was how basically we expanded into Nigeria. Has it been fun? No, it has not been fun. Has there been sleepless nights? Yes. Have I been woken up on December 25 to come and bring a breast pump for somebody that gave birth in a hospital and they desperately needed a breast pump? Yes. Have I spent Christmases in the warehouse? Yes. Have I, like my kids, they are even happy now that the business has taken a life of its own and I'm now at home with them. But for them, it was Saturdays and Sundays of sleeping in the warehouse, eating in the warehouse, eating cold food. It's all sorts of things. But the most important thing is that we've been able to push it to where we are now, and we can step back and allow other people, because we've put the structures that the business needs to run for us to be able to. So that is the most important thing, the most important lesson I want to draw out for women. You have to have an exit plan for your business. You can't keep on running like a machine. If you're going into entrepreneurship, please think of an exit plan. Entrepreneurship is tough, it's draining, it can kill. The most important thing you need to have in mind is put in structures, groom people to do the role, to do whatever you're doing, to fit into the roles that you've been, and have an exit plan. Thank you.
Well, that's a great answer. I think it's important that people know the truth, but also you've been very inspiring. So it started from necessity, you've grown it over 10 years, and now you've merged with a company in Kenya. I think that's really amazing. We seem to have lost Emi-Beth from the show, and since we'll be wrapping up in a few minutes, I just wanted to ask a couple of questions, like closing remarks from both of you in terms of, you know, how would you inspire people that are watching the program now and think that they might actually want to do WELA? Like, what is your 30-second pitch for them?
Okay. So from the school's perspective, I think the main objective for launching this WELA is to empower our women to be able to scale up, build sustainable businesses. And I think our plan is that in the next 10 years, when you're probably mentioning the top 100 companies in Africa run by women, we should have at least maybe 20 among those companies as women, as well as alumni companies. So if you have a business or you have a business idea and then you're thinking about how do I actually launch this idea, how do I scale up my existing business, and especially also thinking about a Pan-African business, I definitely think you should consider WELA. We provide a very supporting environment. We support all our students and alumni, and then we build this platform. So it's like a family. We build this platform to connect all our the businesses of our students and alumni.
Well, I'm definitely thinking of joining you on your trip to China, just so you know. I'm imposing myself. So I'm going to come and I will be your photographer and camera person, and I will have to on Ongolo.
We'll be delighted to have you.
Oh, thank you. And Ezi, any final remarks to you? Because your story's been amazing. It's a shame we've lost Emi-Beth, but at least we got to hear from her. But any final remarks to anyone who's watching the program and wants to talk to
I have a message for African women, and that message is that Africa needs champions. You know, Africa needs women that would look into themselves and say, "This is what I'm going to do for Africa." You know, we need women to build companies that will employ graduates, not just companies that will employ laborers. We need women to build companies that will have structure, employ graduates, become global. We need to build businesses that will feature on the New York Stock Exchange. African women need to do that. And to do that, you need vision and you need education. And the WELA program helps you to shape your vision, and it also gives you the education you need to become a global brand. There's one of the quotes that I learned from the WELA program. You know, one of our lecturers always tells us, think global, think big, be part of a larger pie. Don't think small, you know. So I will encourage every African woman that is listening to me to think big, to think global, and to be part of a larger pie. The world is changing. We are in the world of 5G, fourth industrial revolution. It's no longer, things are not done the way it was done 10 years ago. Learn how to make use of all the technologies that you can make use of to be able to pivot yourself into to be able to take the full advantages of what this decade will throw at business people. Thank you.
Well, thank you for that. I think we're getting Emi-Beth back. Emi-Beth, you joined us just as we were wrapping up, and asking. I just asked everyone for your final thoughts on the program, selling points to people on the program. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Sorry, I think something froze and I seem to have been kicked off. My final words, I would just say, are you don't have to go it alone. I think that's one of the things I got out of WELA. Entrepreneurship can be so lonely, and sometimes you don't know what someone else is going through or experiencing. So you think that, you can't do it, or you even think that this is the extent of your ambition because you haven't had the chance to experience other people. I remember being blown away by some of the Nigerian women in the WELA group already having staff in China. And I was like, oh, wow, these Nigerians were employing Chinese people to help them move goods. And I was like, oh, so, that alone even spurs you. So I would say you don't need to go it alone. Being part of such a powerful network of people who are trying to make each other better is always useful in growing your business. Yes, it's not easy. I've heard so many times people saying that, as for working for somebody, I don't want to work for somebody because I want my freedom. I want to do this. But look at the other side. Can you imagine being an employer during this time, trying to figure out how to pay all your employees, how to figure out how to, make sure your business stays alive? Running a business comes with its own responsibility. So I always say,
It's not easy to choose to be an entrepreneur. It can be one of the best things in the world to see your ideas come to life, to see something that you just had as an idea become a product that people like and enjoy. But it also comes with its own challenges. So whether you're an entrepreneur or you're working for somebody, you should always look to innovate as much as possible and look for opportunities for growth and insights. And WELA is definitely one of those opportunities, and it's definitely done that for me. So my last words would be don't go it alone. Look for networks such as WELA that will build you up and help you create businesses that last beyond just one generation and that are cross-border as well.
That's great. And just so you know, Ezzy, your sentiment about think big, think global, and be part of a bigger pie has really resonated with Mary, who posted here. And Prof, just so you know, we've got more people from Cairo. So thanks, Selena, for watching. So we'll definitely look at how we can make WELA a truly Pan-African program so that everyone can benefit from everything that, Ezzy and Emi-Beth have shared with us. I think it's fantastic. I'm super excited as well. So I just wanted to say thank you to all of you for making the time to come onto the show. I also want to thank you for watching. And so, yeah, I will connect with all of you because I think I'd love to profile you for my blog. So Ongolo.com is my blog. I need to talk a bit more with each of you and tell your story because that's something that we're not very good at as Africans is telling our story. And we have amazing stories to tell.
Thank you.
That's true.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, everyone. I'm wishing you lots of success in your businesses and WELA. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
And thank you everyone for watching. We'll be back next week with another episode of Ongolo Conversations. Thank you very much. I'm Muloongo Muchelemba signing off.